You know what really grinds my gears? The usage of the Acclaimed in AEW. And I want to mention that the Acclaimed was one of the reasons why I actually started watching AEW. And also, too, I started to travel to many different professional wrestling shows because I was excited to see the Acclaim at Grand Slam win the tag team championships. It was like when they won against Swerve in Our Glory, and I believe that was actually when they drew over 20,000 people. But a lot of people were like always talking about how with the Acclaim they did a really great job in AEW because they were not always just about having these Dave Meltzer 5-star matches or these Will Ospreay type of things or these John Moxley hardcore death matches. They just knew that it's character and a great performance. Like a great example of that is MJF. He's an asshole character, but he can also have great matches. Or Tony Storm. She knows how to you know, like have her lycentric limericks and have a great performance. But really, they really have screwed the pooch with the Acclaimed in a lot of ways, and I really think that they really need to come back together. And I don't mind like going over really quick how they messed them up. Like they were the tag team champions, and then they lost to the Ass Boys on Rampage, and it really felt like they were trying to do something for the for Ash and Colton Gunn, Billy Gunn's children. And then the other issue was that Ash and Colton Gunn were associated with Jay White, so possibly they wanted to make Jay White come into AEW and look strong. And then after that, they had the Trios Championship. Rightfully so, they won it at Wembley Stadium because obviously with the Acclaim being one of probably the best original AEW tag team, why not celebrate them? And then after that, they lost the titles. And I'm not sure, I don't remember who they lost it to. I believe it was, um, if I'm correct, I believe it, I forget who they lost the titles to. I don't think it was it might be the Young Bucks and Jack Perry, but eventually they did lose the titles. And they've kind of done this thing where Max Caster, um, and Anthony Bones were not getting along, and then they eventually had Max Caster, wrestle for a while and lose every single time, and then they had Anthony Bones come, and then they had Anthony Bones be booked well, and then he lost, I believe, to Shelton, Okada, and a few other people. Like he kind of ran into that, issue like with the Don Callis family of there's certain people that you're not allowed to be in professional wrestling really, and now like this week, it was kind of really bad because you saw like Anthony Bowens beat up Max Caster, and then Billy Gunn picks up Anthony Bowens and throws him so hard he like does a few like tornado 360s in the air. So it's bad because then it looks like Anthony Bowens can get manhandled. So I really feel that there's been a couple of big things that I want to talk about. That first of all, Max Caster has a really great voice, and the whole "Let's Go Max, you're the best wrestler alive." They've done him dirty because one of the big problems is that he loses all the time. So he's almost become like Santino Marella, and I think he runs with it, and that's not the best way to do things because, um, you know, if somebody like him can get a reaction from the audience and get over in a big way, why isn't he winning? Why isn't he like the ROH champion? Why isn't he getting like a cruiserweight or a TNT title? Like why isn't he like utilized good? It's like Enzo Amore, like he won the 405 title, I believe, or he won one of the cruiserweight titles, Enzo Amore in WWE. And I think he won the tag team titles, Enzo Amore, if I'm correct, because they realized that he was getting a lot of attention. So why aren't you pushing him? Why they wouldn't turn him into a jobber? Even like with Eugene or Santino Marella, they've done things with Santino Marella and Eugene where they've gotten a large reaction and they reward them with titles. With Max, he just is a jobber. So that's a very poor usage of Max. And then also with Anthony Bowen's a little bit more tragic with him because he talks about being the first openly gay wrestler. He was the first openly gay wrestler to win any form of championship in AEW. And if you want to be honest, he's probably the first openly gay wrestler to win a championship at Wembley Stadium. Like he really should be like the trailblazer, almost like with Nyla Rose. Like Nyla Rose, there was a controversy about her wrestling in Oklahoma because she's a trans woman wrestling against female wrestlers. Like they could have done something like had Nyla Rose like even win the AEW Women's Championship, or have Nyla Rose wrestle and do an open challenge until she got arrested or until they got fined, and then do something with Nyla Rose in Oklahoma. Or they could have done something with Anthony Bowens. They can say, hey, you know what? He could be the first openly gay wrestler to win the AEW championship, any type of professional wrestling heavyweight championship, and also he's black. And honestly, like black gay men, that's a double negative in a lot, and with because of American racism and homophobia, really, like that would make a lot. It would mean a lot to make him a champion. Because honestly, if he was in WWE during the Attitude Era, he would be like butt bandit Bowens or booty warrior Bowens, because that was a time where they had a lot of stereotypes against gay people. Like you look at Sexual Chocolate being tricked into having sex with a tranny. Like that's how they really treat gay people and trans people in the Attitude Era. But WWE's had done a lot of progression, really. So you taking this wrestler Bowens, where he could have done a lot of just good as a single star, and his goal is to win a singles championship and do it the right way, where Ricochet kind of wants to be deceitful, really. So you kind of have taken Bowens and you've really just screwed the pooch with him. And then it also looks bad because now you're having Billy Gunn actually throw him and whatever. And then also some people are saying too, like two things is that he does a lot of Billy Gunn's moveset. So it's almost like, is he trying to be Anthony Bowens or Billy Gunn Part 2? And then also Mollywop is the most, pardon my language, retarded name for a move. He might as well change it to the we're here, we're queer, get used to it, or the milk. Because milk was the name of a politician. Or he should change it to like the Provincetown Delight, or or the rainbow flag, or the LGBTQ or something like that. Like it's just a very, very fuck poor name. And there's no way that anybody would be taken seriously by having a move called the Mollywop. That's just whoever came up with that. They need a Dr. David Schultz slap across the face, because that's a really, really, really stupid ass name for a move. So I think that wholeheartedly, and I know this is very late in the video, is that they really need the Acclaimed to become a team again. And I also will say that they need to treat them exactly like the New Day, where they go after singles titles but stay together. They go after tag team titles and stay together. And I actually think that what they can do is turn them heel again, and have them kind of like, be reintroduced as a heel tag team. And they can even like take the titles off the Hurt Syndicate if you want to do something where, they try to regain the tag team titles at Wembley Stadium next year. Like, I think that that's the best move for them. But I also feel that you can do something like, if they're really adamant about becoming tag team, if they're really adamant about singles titles, they can challenge Bandito and take the title off of the ROH title off of him, like give it to Max Caster or Anthony Bowens. Or if you want to do like keep them as baby faces, you can do the Continental Classic and get to Okada versus Bowens, or you can get to a point where you're doing like a tournament for somebody to face Adam Page on Dynamite, and then you have Bowens versus Adam Page and have him kind of be in that role of you're about to become a champion. Maybe next year you win the Casino Gauntlet. Like try to prep him for being a champion, really. Because when you have somebody who's the first openly gay wrestler, he's been around since the start, he's done a lot of things. Wouldn't you want to, show how different your company is and show that, we're a bunch of misfits and we really are the company that wants to do things the right way, versus like the WWE, where it's had a long history of systemic racism and mental health discrimination, other things like that. So it's really, really unfortunate that they've really made a lot of mistakes with Anthony Bowens and Max Caster, and I really think they need to do a hard reset. Like, I think that if you make them the tag team champions, they can do one thing where you can do an open challenge where you have Max Caster come out and then Billy Gunn challenges him, and then Anthony Bowens attacks Billy Gunn, and then they throw Billy Gunn out of the group, and then you kind of see them on their own, really. And then later on in time, you have a real match between Billy Gunn and Bowens. You retire Billy Gunn, and then they go on a streak together of Max Caster and Anthony Bowens, and they're heels. But then there's a point where they turn babyface, and then when they turn babyface, you can have Bowens achieve his dream of being a singles champion, or maybe you have him win a champion as a heel, and he learns, okay, you know what, I was impatient, and there's a lot of things I could have learned from Billy Gunn, really, but because I got impatient, I earned something the wrong way, really. And that could be like a story dynamic of how impatience can lead to success, but success we don't deserve, or we can feel like, okay, well, the best way to get things is by being patient and screwing and cheating our way to the top or screwing our way to the top. Like, there's a lot that you can actually do with Anthony Bowens. Like, I think that he can be a great TNT champion. He can also be a good, like, international champion, or whatever title that Okada's holding. Like whatever the three titles he's holding, because then you can do something like say, hey, you know what, Bowens has that, and and you're having this gay wrestler wrestle people from around the world to say, hey, you know what, if he wrestles in conservative countries, or he wrestles like wrestlers from Iran or other places where they're anti-gay or they're homophobic, you can say, hey, you know what, we gotta just break that. We gotta just accept gay people everywhere. There's a lot that you can do with him, and like I've said many times, I really think that if they're kind of lost in the shuffle, like honestly, they would be an excellent tag team for TNA Wrestling, or an excellent tag team for WWE. I would say TNA Wrestling if TNA Wrestling is TV 14, but there is so much you can do with the Acclaim. You've had not had the Acclaim versus the Hardy Boys, but the Acclaim, there is so much that they can do with them, and it's really, really unfortunate that they're lost in the shuffle. They are one of the teams that they really should salvage, because they are part of the identity of AEW, with Max Caster being TV14, Max Caster crossing lines, both of them just wanting to be professional wrestlers that are individuals and true to themselves, and have no F's to give, really. They're part of the original identity of AEW, really. And I actually think that if you really want to say it, they are the best tag team of AEW. Just like the Motor City Machine Guns are the best tag team of TNA Wrestling, because they are the identity of TNA, the same way the identity of AEW really is the Acclaimed, even more so than the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks were more Ring of Honor and New Japan wrestlers, but really it's kind of been bad that there's been no direction for Anthony Bowens and Max Caster. They need to do a hard reset. I think them becoming a team and then either winning tag team titles or going after singles titles and helping each other out, really, is the way to go with them. Just like the New Day helped out Kofi Kingston become the WWE champion and other things like that. So they almost have to, that's probably the best reset on them. So I really think that the Acclaim deserve a hard reset, and I hope they go in that direction.